So, what if your daily commute, that trip to the grocery store, could actually be earning you crypto? That's the huge promise behind a project called DIMO. Today, we're going to dive deep and figure out if this is the future of driving or just another crypto experiment. Let's get right into it. Okay, let me start by asking you something. Your car? It's basically a data factory on wheels. It's constantly spitting out information about how you drive, its engine health, its location, all kinds of stuff. But here's the kicker. Who's actually cashing in on all that valuable data? I can almost guarantee you, it's not you. And look, that's pretty much the reality we're living in. For years now, the big car manufacturers and the insurance giants have been quietly collecting and selling your core's data. You're the one doing all the driving, but they're the ones reaping the financial rewards. You've been completely cut out of the loop. Well, that's where a project called DIMO steps in, and it's promising to totally flip that script. It's built on this really powerful idea. What if you were the one in charge? What if you could actually get paid for the data your car is already creating? So what is DIMO exactly? Well, at its core, it's a decentralized network. That means no single company controls it. It hooks your car up to the blockchain, and here's the most important part. It changes who owns the data. Instead of some corporation holding it on their servers, DIMO gives the keys back to you, the driver. Now, to really get what DIMO is doing, you have to understand the category it's in. It's called DPIN. It stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks, which I know sounds super technical, but trust me, the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. And here's why this is such a big deal. DPIN projects like DIMO, they aren't just about launching another digital coin. What they're really doing is building a bridge between physical, real-world things, like your car or someone's Wi-Fi router or even solar panels, and the blockchain. It allows these everyday objects to generate real value in a way that isn't controlled by a big company. Okay, so that all sounds fantastic in theory, right? But how does it actually work? How do you go from just driving your car around to earning crypto tokens? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how it's done. It's really a pretty straightforward four-step deal. First, you get your car connected to the DIMO network. You can do this with a little hardware gadget you just plug in, or for newer cars like Tesla's, it's just a software link. Then the system starts collecting data. Things like performance, diagnostics, how you're driving. Next, and this part is absolutely key, you get to decide if you want to share that data with different apps or companies on the network. And finally, when you do share, you get rewarded with DIMO tokens. Simple as that. And this is where it starts to get really exciting, because all this data can unlock some seriously cool real-world uses. I mean, just imagine if your insurance bill automatically went down because the data proves you're a safe driver. Or what if you got a notification on your phone warning you about a potential engine problem before it turns into a crazy expensive breakdown? That's the kind of utility we're talking about. And that right there, that's the whole game. This is what DIMO is all about. It aims to transform your car from something that just loses value over time, a liability really, into a productive digital asset, an asset that is constantly generating value for you, its actual owner. All right, let's zoom out and look at the big picture for a minute. What about the financial side of things? Let's take a look at the DIMO token itself and see where it sits in the broader market. As you can see from the supply, things are pretty much split down the middle right now. About 49% of the tokens are out there in circulation. The rest, that other 51%, is going to be released over time, and most of it is earmarked as rewards to get more drivers to join the network and add their data. It's how they build the whole thing out. So here are the quick facts you need to know. The token is, of course, DIMO. There's a maximum supply of 1 billion tokens. It lives in that DPIN and mobility sector we talked about, and importantly, it's still what we'd call a low capitalization project. Now, what does that mean for you? It means it's still relatively small, so it has huge potential to grow, but that also makes it a much, much riskier and more volatile investment. This chart really helps put it all in perspective. On one hand, you have a Web 2 titan like Tesla. They collect tons of car data, but it's a completely closed system. Only the company profits. Then you've got a Web 3 project like Helium, which built an open model where users profit from providing Wi-Fi. DIMO is basically taking that same open, user-first playbook and applying it directly to the auto industry. All right, but let's be real here. With any project this ambitious, the stakes are incredibly high, and no explainer would be complete if we didn't take a hard, serious look at both the huge risks and the potential rewards down the line. And let's be crystal clear on this. The single biggest risk for DIMO isn't the technology failing. The tech works. The real make or break challenge is the economic model. The entire system, the whole thing, depends on creating a thriving marketplace where companies and developers actually want to buy the data the drivers are providing. If there are no buyers, the tokens have no real sustainable value. Period. And that's not the only hurdle. The network needs a ton of users to be valuable. That's the classic network effect. It's also going head-to-head with car manufacturers who are not just going to give up their data monopoly without a fight. Then you've got the wild card of future government regulations around data, and of course, you can't forget the wild price swings that come with any low-cap crypto asset. So you can really see two completely different futures for DIMO laid out here. On the one hand, you've got the dream scenario. Millions of cars get connected, big players like insurance companies and fleet managers are actively buying data, and a whole ecosystem of cool apps gets built on the platform. That creates real, sustained demand for the token. But the bearish scenario is just as possible. What if users don't show up? What if no one wants to buy the data? Then the whole network just fizzles out. So after going through all of that, what's the final verdict? What is the single most important thing you should walk away with today? Here it is. You have to understand that DIMO is trying to be so much more than just another crypto coin. While the token is speculative, the project itself is aiming for tangible, real-world utility that connects directly to mechanics, to insurance companies, and to the future of how we get around. Ultimately, getting involved with DIMO isn't just a bet on a token. It's a bet on a much, much bigger idea. The idea that we can turn the physical things we use every single day into digital assets. Assets that we, not some giant corporation, actually own, control, and can profit from. And that really leaves us with one final and I think profound question. It goes way beyond just cars or crypto. In this world that's getting more and more connected by the second, who do you think should have the final say? Who should control and ultimately profit from the insane amount of data that our daily lives generate? That's something to think about.